Well, you got an idea who comes next on stage. We want to talk about the biggest trends in the banking industry, not regulation. We don't want to create any bad vibrations so soon after breakfast, so we save that one for later. We want to talk about another trend, i.e. financial technology. It's a trend that our next speaker claims is not only the biggest trend in the banking industry, but also a very powerful one, very different to many other trends, as it has the potential to demolish the entire banking industry. Fintech startups are taking business away from banks. Crowdfunding and crowd lending platforms make a bank as an intermediary obsolete. Big data and predictive analysis start to replace investment banking experts. Google and Facebook have been in possession of a banking license for quite some time. And only imagine if Apple would transform every single iTunes account into a check account, it would have more check or current accounts in no time than the 3 biggest US banks combined. So what can you do to play a part in all of this, not to say survive it? Our next speaker suggests start hacking. No, not hacking your competitors' computers. Start hacking your own ideas. The method is called innovation hacking. It's been invented by a company called FUTURECANDY, a global trend research and innovation consulting firm, and its founder and managing director is here to tell you all about it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nick Sohnemann.
I'm waking up Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And let's travel to the future. I mean, I have good news and bad news today. And you have to fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be fast and a little bit crazy. Yeah? And the first thing I notice is digital innovation in banking in Switzerland means dark suit. Yeah? I think this is something we can change maybe for the next event. No, seriously. So we're gonna before we look into your industry, we're gonna step back a little bit and see quickly what's going on in the world. Yeah? Why am I thinking that fintech and digital innovation is gonna change the banking industry? And I will tell you a little bit about this. So just quickly, FUTURECANDY is a company from Hamburg, and we help companies that want to move into the digital world with this step, and we look very closely to the Silicon Valley because we know that this is a driving region in the world where all innovation happen in the moment. And we in Europe, honestly, we have to learn a little bit and follow a little bit into this digital world because we are behind. So before we look into banking industry, as I said, let's look at the next technology wave.
Today's presentation.
And the first thing is when you wake up in the morning in the future, you will have loads of new devices at hand. You will have a new data glass you put on, and you can see all the relevant information for you, all your meetings, all your important appointments, and of course you can do sports. You can download Klitschko program and you fight against him in the morning to loosen up your energy. And then when you have breakfast, you can already do some e-learning. At least your kids can do that. They can look at some volcanoes and learn about them. They can play games in the morning. And when you're at home and you don't know what to cook for them or what to make for them for breakfast, you just put on your data glasses. And because of big data analysis and individual tracking of your personal food, it gives you recommendation what you should eat or what you should give others to eat. You know, so you have technology as a little helper at hand all the time. And of course, your office looks different too in the future. Yeah. And when you don't believe in this and you don't want to walk around with a glass, maybe this is the world you want to live in, a world where everything around you is full of monitors that will recognize you and identify you. So you walk to the bathroom and there's a monitor and it knows who you are and it gives you personalized information and tells you, okay, today you have a meeting with this person and with this person. And there's media content around you as well. All the important news that are relevant for you, they are available. In the kitchen, it's the same thing. Everything is full with monitors. So when you prepare your breakfast, you can see already some news, and wherever you move, the news will go with you. So you don't have to sit down in the living room anymore in front of a TV. The TV is following you. And of course, there's going to be new gadgets all around you and new software, so you can use technology very intuitively. And we'll have smartphones as well, but smartphones will look cooler. They're just like this kind of very small, cool devices, very slick, only a monitor, very easy to use. And you can call your mother-in-law in the morning, get good vibes for the day. And then she gets even 4 times bigger because it connects automatically with the other monitors. And then when you need to go to work, you need to be mobile. You need to, of course, take some kind of car to go to work. And you do that by calling the car in the morning on your via your smartphone. It will drive to your driveway. You get into the car. It's not your car. It's a share car. But it identifies you on your mobile and tells you, okay, this is a person. And this is a place she works, this is a place it's a fitness, this is a place where she lives. And then this car feels like it's your own car, but it's not yours. You pay per minute. And in this case, she chooses to drive herself. Of course, in the future, we don't need to drive ourselves. Cars will drive automatically, like this one. This one doesn't even have a steering wheel. It doesn't have pedals. You don't need to have a driving license to drive such a car. You just get in, you press the button, you say where you want to go, and then this car drives you there. According to the speed limits, no dangerous driving. The great thing is, we don't have any accidents anymore in the future, and we don't have to waste any time anymore with driving. We can work on the way to work. We can already do things. We can prepare. We can read the paper. We can, look at our competitors' websites. We can order some stuff online. We don't need to stand in traffic jams anymore and bite into the steering wheel. So this is going to be a new world, yeah? More time to spend on other things, because machines don't make mistakes, humans make mistakes. And in Las Vegas a few days ago, we were at the CES, the Audi announced or showed this piloted driving. It was a car like this that drove 900 kilometers from San Francisco to Las Vegas on the motorway without anyone driving the car or steering the car. And the thing is, on the highways it already works. But of course, in the small, narrow streets of Zurich, you still have to drive yourself, but not on the highway anymore. And when you then arrive at work in the future and you're wearing one of those glasses, you see a new world. You see everything full with digital information. Why? To be more efficient, more fast in your work. So you, for example, need to take a bus, you see immediately, I can buy a ticket here. I see advertising. I see a police car driving past. And when I look down, I can see the trains that are going underneath me, and I know where they're going, and I know exactly, I missed these ones, but I will take the next train. So why is it better? Because it's more intuitive. I don't have to go anywhere, look at timetables. I don't have to go to a machine, buy a ticket. This helps me to be faster. Here I see where my contact is. I see that in 1 hour my meeting is finished and it's gonna rain. So that is useful information for me. So I get a lot of personalized digital information because big data analyzes my calendar, my behavior, my contacts, my favorite products, and it gives me this kind of digital additional information. And we'll have at work a lot of new devices. We'll have new mobile phones in a couple of months. This is a new phone that China produces. It's a phone with a holographic screen. You can see 3-dimensional information coming out of this phone. You can have a new, like a flexible screen as a mobile phone. Everything you look at will be identified, and the phone is always as big as you want it to be. You don't need any more translators, of course. You can make a conference call just by bending the screen. So this is stuff, and this monitor, this is an OLED display, and already in the current Samsung phones, they're already using a OLED display like this, but of course not flexible, so we'll see the next generation coming out like this. And we will see computers that don't have keyboards anymore. They just have this kind of touchscreen. So honestly, laptops and computers like this will disappear from the world and from banking offices too. It will be new computers like this, where you just put all kinds of information from your clients. They will be automatically scanned, and then you can interact with this information. And then you can, for example, put here this little cube, take a picture, and automatically you have a three-dimensional image of this. And then you can play with this. You can scan all kinds of data sheets in there and then play with them. And of course, they will be digitalized. So and of course, we have new devices like the Google Glass. Yeah? I brought one here, and you're welcome to try this on later as well. And the Google Glass can help us to free our hands from technology. We don't need to carry a smartphone anymore. We can just walk around. I get all the information I need on my eyes, and I can scan products. I can see maybe where can I get this product cheaper. Everything is easy to scan, and I can, when I'm a surgeon, I can see all the information that I need for my patient. I see them here while I'm in a theater and I'm operating on the patient. It's a little bit small to see sometimes, but or when I'm in Las Vegas and I'm calling a technician to fix my air conditioning, in Zurich it would be probably rather the heating, then you open the door and he walks around like this, and then you go upstairs to fix it, and then you can follow what he does, and he can connect to his friends and colleagues and scan, check whether he does the right thing. Okay, well, I don't know. And in our serious business case here from Germany, this is a case where in a logistic company, they're using data glasses like this to make the workforce more efficient. So the people in the warehouse there, they're wearing a glass and they get all the information they need automatically on this glass. So they save the time of not going somewhere to having to pick up a piece of paper to tell them where to go. So this saves them a few minutes in a day, so that means they can do more jobs in a day.
By 25 by 5 and a weight of 0.5 kilogram. It's non-fragile. Pick 2.
And that's cool because not only this guy wears it, but all the people in this warehouse wear it. And the advantage here is they have their hands free, yeah? So they don't need to carry around some kind of device that scans all this stuff.
Pick request confirmed.
And then even this lady there, she wears it. Okay, and now something unbelievable. An innovation from Germany and from German Post, something that you wouldn't think it's possible. But there's a drone that delivers now, as a real business case, regularly postal, important urgent medicine, for example, to a island in the North Sea. Because it's cheaper to go with a drone than with a boat. There's not so many people living on this island anymore, so it's faster to bring the medicine with a little machine like this instead of a boat. And you see on board of this drone is an urgent pharmacy, urgent medicine. You can use drones as advertising in the future. Huh? So if you want to make advertising for your bank, it's better than hiring a Zeppelin going across Zurich. You know, this is a little bit more targeted. You can just go around the other bank competitors. Or you can, after work, when you finish your day in the future, you can go to a restaurant and you can actually get the food delivered by drones. Okay, I don't know if we want this. Or you can get your food printed from a 3D printer. Huh? There's 3D printers for furniture and things like this, but there's also 3D printer for food. I like the name of this printer. It's called Foodini. And you can put in the dough, and then it prints out a little chocolate cake. And you can even print pizza and other things. And now the last case from the future is when you go online shopping, then you will be recognized, and it will tell you, "Oh, you're back. Hello, Nick. You were on this website a few days ago. You bought a jeans. I now suggest you to buy a T-shirt." So this already works. It's every day. This works every day already in the internet. But in the real world, it doesn't work. So I go to a normal shop, and they don't recognize me. They don't say, "I remember you. You were here 2 days ago." They don't say these things. Why not? Yeah. And in the future, this will change because we'll have little cameras around the real world that will track you everywhere you are. So you walk into a bar, yeah, like imagine this is a shop, now it's a bar, 3:30 in the afternoon, time for a drink, yeah? In the future we have time for things like this, so why not? And she gets a personalized drink, yeah? Not a happy hour cocktail, but her favorite cocktail, and based on the analysis of her face. What do you need? You need a camera like this. You need to have access to the data of this person. So you must know what does she like, what kind of product does she buy, what does she look like, of course. You need to know her face. And then whenever she walks inside the shop, she will be recognized. And then you can get your personal information. And the great thing here now for you as bankers, yeah, payment will be like this in the future. So you walk inside a shop, you will be scanned, you take the products you want, you go outside. You don't have to actually pay anymore. You don't have to take out your wallet, not your phone, nothing, just your face. It's a payment. It's great for payment, and it's great for stopping thieves, because you can't steal anymore. Yeah? Everybody is tracked, so there's no more person to steal anything. So now you're thinking, and now we come a little bit to your topic, why we are here today. Now you're thinking, hang on, why is there so much technology? Isn't it about human beings, about values, and all these things? And I say, nah, no, it's not. It's about technology. And I tell you why. And I prepared this now, we don't have much time. If I would have asked you, what have been the most important developments in the last 4,000 years human history? You're all intelligent, you would have probably said something like, yeah, the big empires, yeah, okay, Roman Empire, the Turkish Empire, and so on. And then others would have said, no, the advent of religions, okay, have that in there as well. The big philosophers are in there as well. Everything is there, even the plague. Everything I put in there, so let's see now what the data say. We have here the world population estimated by the UN, and let's see what event was most impactful on human history. And when we look at the data, we come to some weird conclusion. None of these things have mattered very much. We have been almost the same amount of people on the planet for all human history, so roughly 500 million. And then there was one event in 1750 that changed everything. The whole curve was bent by 90 degrees. In the last 200 years, we grew from 500 million to 7 billion. In the year zero, we were maybe 300 million people on the planet, maybe 1,000 living in Jerusalem, and one punk. So, of course, when there's only few people, everybody is more, matters more. So we still talk about one punk 2,000 years later. Anyway, so 7 billion people in 200 years. So what happened? You're all clever, you know it. It was the beginning of technology. It was the advent of technology, the invention of technology, the beginning of the industrialization. With the technology, we were able to build houses that are bigger than us. We could move from cold areas like Hamburg to warm areas like Zurich, because we could actually travel somewhere, So suddenly it was nicer to live on the planet, so that's why technology helped us. And it's our friend. And after the area where we overcome the limitations of our muscles, we now overcome the limitations of our brains. And this is where banking comes in, or not. So what does this mean for the year 2015? One thing is an important word, and we already heard it in the beginning of this morning, disruptive innovation. And I'm sure you all heard about it, and maybe some of you are even sick of hearing it. Disruptive innovation is something that goes on in so many industries, and now the banking industry is kind of like the target. One industry that had been disrupted is the music industry. You all remember the big four, the big players in the music industry, they're now absolutely meaningless. The big companies that printed lexica, encyclopedias, they are gone. Yeah? There's a lot of companies, the big publishing houses have been disrupted. There's so many industries that disappeared because of the digitalization, and that's why we're talking about this, because of a digital transformation. And I guess this is why we're all here. Yeah? Because in the past, the last 10 years, everybody talked about digital business like a little addition. They said, yeah, we should think a little bit more digital, that's true. And now, for the first time, people talk about digital transformation. They say, we have to actually not do the old thing anymore, but rather do only the new thing. But how? And this is what all industries are facing now as a challenge. And why? Because this is how technology was a few years ago, and now we have one device. And here was all companies that made money with all these products. And now we have one company, or a few companies only, that do one device that does the same. Companies that disappear within months. Video rental, a small industry, admittedly, but it took months only. There's no more video rental shops in the world. They're gone because of Netflix and iTunes. Taxi industry is coming under pressure by one company only, Uber. And I tell you now, here's a lot of people who have a lot of financial knowledge, and I'm telling you, I'm not really thinking that financial thinking people are always that clever, because this former CFO of Bertelsmann is now the CEO of Bertelsmann, Thomas Rabe, a famous guy, maybe you know him, and he bought recently Gruner + Jahr completely. There was 25% share still owned by the Jahr family. Gruner + Jahr is a publishing house, and I know Bertelsmann is one of the biggest media companies in Europe. And 25%, no one knows exactly what they paid, but they think 200 million for the remaining 25%. So that means the whole company of Gruner + Jahr is only 800 million. Is the whole value of the company. The funny thing is only that a few years ago, McKinsey and all the famous consultancies were saying that Gruner + Jahr has a value of 5 billion euros. And this was before the digitalization really started, so maybe 5-6 years ago. So what happened in the last 5-6 years ago? 5 billion, 800 million. You see the difference, yeah? So no one has done anything right here. No Bertelsmann CEO, no Gruner + Jahr CEO, no one. They all have made mistakes. Established companies don't know anything about digitalization. They're just burning money every day. And you see why. Because of one big thinking mistake, and that's called the lousy penny trap. Loads of established players trapping into this, and it is difficult to spot, but Kodak did the same, for example. They looked at digital photography in the 70s as a pioneer. And then what they did was, they decided against it because of what? Because of core competence. They said, we need margin, we need money. So let's focus on core competence. Our core competence is film. But film was irrelevant a few years later, so that's why they're insolvent. So established players have a big problem with innovation, always. So let's see what industry will be destroyed next. And yeah, you're guessing it. It will be the banking industry. At least the companies, as you know them now, they will not exist anymore. And I'm serious, yeah? Because in Frankfurt, I tell you, the Deutsche Bank towers will be rented by other companies soon, because they don't need all these people there anymore. And why? Because banking is essentially a one-time innovation industry. It's simple like the publishing houses. The publishing houses thought, aha, we have the newspapers, let's print all the stuff that they have here on printed paper in the internet. We are digital, finished. And it's the same with the banking. They thought, hang on, we do the account, we bring it online. We are digital. And this is not finished. This is this one-time innovation. It's not enough. This is not real digitalization. And there's something happening like the Fintech startups. And ironically, the CEOs of Fintech companies are often former bankers. They've been kind of laid off in the banking crisis 2008 and 2009. And they then teamed up with programmers, and now they're starting small companies, and they're attacking the bank industries. And I'll give you some examples. Like one example is this one. Yeah? There's loads of other ones, but Funding Cycle is a company where you can, Funding Circle, where you as another company, when you're a company and say, I need £100,000 Then you go there, you can go to your bank, but the bank will say, listen, £100,000, oh, that's too much work for so little money, they don't even give you this money. Or you have the same amount of work if you want 100,000 and if you want 1 million. So that's why it's so much hassle to get this money. That's why small companies go now to platforms like this, where they can get 100,000 from other companies. Not in total, but it's a crowd system. And once this company went for £100,000 to this website, and they got it, they will go for the next time when they need 500,000 also to this website. Why should they go to the bank again? And this is why I see a problem with small, medium-sized companies who will then turn to websites like this. Another thing is a payment system. Yeah? All big, cool payment players are from digital companies. They're not from banks. We heard about Apple. We heard about other mobile players. Samsung is going to come out with a payment system. There's no banking payment system, or hardly any. And this is a problem. And then we see intelligent bank accounts as well. Yeah? Digital banking, I would say. So there's one new bank called GoBank. It works only on the mobile, and the advantage here is it tracks your personal spending behavior. So you can scan checks, you can scan receipts, and it learns about you personally, what you like, what you're spending things on, how you spend money. And so then you can check your balance. Okay, I think this is normal stuff. But now it gets more intelligent. You can ask for advice, for spending advice, as a consumer, but of course also as business in the future. In this case, it's a holiday. So you can ask for where you want to go. San Diego or Hawaii, both nice, I think. And then this website, this banking software is looking at how much does flights cost, hotels. This person, I know, when they go out, they spend this and this amount of money, and they know how much you're earning. All these things this bank account knows. And it gives you a personalized advice based on data. It's very transparent, it's very easy to use, and it's a new player. It's not a bank that we know. And I tell you, there's an industry that's very closely connected to the banks. It was a stock exchange. And they were similar like the banks now. And in the 80s, there was a lot of human beings running around with telephones, and it was a people business, like banking is now. And this is how it looked in the 80s, yeah? A lot of people running around, knowing people and talking to them, negotiating. And this is how stock exchange look today. There's no one working anymore. Maybe some maintenance workers who make sure that the computers work. And this is how banking looks today. And this is how banking looks in the future. And now my serious word of advice is, employ different people if you want to tackle this transformation. Employ programmers, engineers, and not more economists and lawyers. These people don't know about anything, what's going on in the future. That's a problem. So we need different, and the Fintech startups, they know these things. They're already employing programmers. And in the digital transformation, we don't need any more human beings, so many. We need server capacity. Another industry that will change is retail. Yeah? I mean, the idea that people go inside a shop, like a supermarket, they go through all the alleyways, they take all the products, put them on a conveyor belt, put them again into this shopping cart, and then again in their car. I mean, this is old stuff. Yeah? Retail is going to work completely different. E-commerce is already a big disruptor against all kinds of fashion labels. They all have a problem, fashion shops. So, but it's going to be a big disruptor against the grocery business too, and against restaurants. So, for example, in the future, when you go down the shop and down the street, and you come to a shop, there's a little beacon. Yeah? It sends out a signal, a digital signal to your phone, and then you can see, oh, what's going on? Well, that's interesting. They have a special offer here. And this is, of course, for every shop like this. And maybe you can only see the information that is relevant for you because they also track your digital behavior. And then there's a second beacon at this table. And then when you sit down, you suddenly get only information when you are at this table, like the shopping, like the menu card. Then you can have beacons at home that connect you all the time to your phone. So when you want to buy milk, it reminds you to buy milk when you come to the shop. But now a more clever example of how beacons work. Every item in the store in the future will have one beacon, like here, the yellow dress. So you pick up the yellow dress, you say, well, looks nice. Wow, not my size, what a shame. Hang on, I just check online. Do they have my size? Oh, they even have different colors. So you can order directly. This is technology. And you can use virtual new screens to go shopping in virtual worlds, like here. You go on a normal website, you say, well, I would like to see this product. They will ask you, do you have an Oculus? Oculus is a company that's just bought by Facebook for $2 billion. If you want to, I would suggest you buy Facebook shares, because when this hits the market, it's going to be big. So you go to a website, you click on this. Yes, I have an Oculus. You put the Oculus on, and then you are inside a virtual world. And you can look at the product, and then you can see the virtual product yourself. It's a Louis Vuitton bag for $199. Huh. Is this real or virtual? And then you can even connect to your friends and ask them, this is correct, this is good. This is how the e-commerce world will look like in a few years. And none of the big e-commerce players know anything about these things as well. So even online businesses will be disrupted again from other businesses online. And you can, in retail, you don't need to go to IKEA anymore. You can actually go to a shop that has a big 3D printer, and you can print out the furniture that you like. Maybe you want to have in the summertime some yellow, some white chairs, and in wintertime some pink chairs, and you can just print them off. You don't need to go to IKEA to buy them. You can print them. And you can even print out ceramics. This is possible as well, and multicolor as well. Okay, and one last industry that will disrupt is energy. You know, I mean, the big companies, the idea was of the last centuries to just, bring energy from one plant to you at home. Now the next challenge is to track smart how to waste the energy at home or how not to waste it. And the big companies that are doing this are not energy companies. Nest, for example, is a company that's owned by Google. They have a smart sensor to measure your energy usage at home, and they automatically switch off lights, heating, and so on when you are not there. Okay, so my idea is, if you want to tackle the digitalization, you have to transform or die. And die is not necessarily bad. Yeah? I mean, sometimes you could say, listen, we are an old company. We made 500 years, we made money, or 100 years. Let's say now we open the playing field for someone else. We made money, so let's be. But if you want to do it, then if you want to transform, so essentially become a digital or a technology company, employ different people, and think differently, and I'll tell you how. Innovation hacking is maybe one answer to this. It's a new methodology of thinking about innovation. I tell you, in Europe, we are behind. We are behind because we don't know anything about digitalization. The Americans have 20 years leeway. They are 20 years ahead with these things, and the Silicon Valley drives everything. And I give you some examples. Yeah? It's about creating better innovations. And why hacking? Because in Europe we are behind. And in Europe, this is a German article, we have this kind of digital schizophrenia. We know about everything. We are kind of clever mics. We think, listen, I have this latest smartphone. I use the latest laptop. I'm digital. But this is not how digital works. Digital works like this. In America, when you're a startup, and you come to a VC, and you say, I have a new innovation that would be very interesting for the established banking industry. They could work more efficient, and I have already a target audience. All the VCs in America will say, listen, I don't care. This is not interesting for me. When you come to the VCs and say, I have a new technology that destroys all current players, they listen to you. This is what Uber did. Uber came to them and said, listen, we're going to destroy all established taxi players, rental car companies, courier companies. We're going to have one new platform. And this is how people listen to you. Uber got $1.2 billion for 10% of their company after 4 years of 4 years old company. My Taxi, it's an 8 years old company, was just sold to Daimler for 50 million. So My Taxi is this kind of European startup, small, medium enterprise, 30 people, but it's not a world-dominated player. This is how Americans want to be world-dominating in digital business, and we want to have small, medium-sized companies, and we want to make revenues. European companies say to their startups, no, I like your business idea. If you make some more money, more revenues, I give you more money too. So all startups, all digital business is underfunded in Europe. In America, they don't think about revenues. They think about dominating the world, getting traction, and then they make a business model. Like Facebook. Many years they didn't make any money. Twitter. Now suddenly, because they have so many users, they're making money. And this is a problem. Google, Facebook, and Twitter were not invented in Europe, but they couldn't have been invented in Europe because we don't think like this. We think in small, medium-sized companies. So and we don't want to destroy anyone in Europe. Essentially, I don't know about Switzerland, but in Germany, the economic system, the big companies, they all been funded after the Second World War, founded after the Second World War, shortly after, maybe before the Second World War. So essentially, we have the same kind of economic system for 50 years now. The last company that started in Germany that now has more than 10,000 employees was a company called SAP. SAP was founded in the year 71, so more than 40 years ago. In the last 40 years, nothing happened. Nothing happened. We are an economy that almost stayed the same. No one tackled this new chances. And this is really dramatic in Europe because in America, we have something like this. Google is only 15 years old. And they have 50,000 employees. And they make as much revenue as Siemens does. And Siemens has 250,000 employees. So we don't understand anything about digitalization here in Europe. And this is a problem. And if we don't change this, we will be overrun in so many industries by the Americans. And it's also about academia. The academia in Europe is also behind. When you ask professors to your companies and they will tell you about innovations, they will essentially talk about this model. This is an old model from the 80s. The idea here is, and I tell you, all German big corporations use this model. Take all the innovations that Nick Sohnemann talks about, for example, put them in a funnel, analyze them according to some criteria that you have to define. At some point, the CEO is being asked as well. And then at the end, you have this one big innovation. This is how Siemens, Deutsche Post, all them innovate. And what happens at the end is cool innovations like the e-post letter by the Deutsche Post or the e-mailer by the Deutsche Telekom, stuff that comes 10 years too late, and it's so uncool that you want to cry. You know, this is how things happen, and they cost millions. And now in the Silicon Valley, you think differently. You use different methodologies. You think about execution, not about analytics. The analytics is something to follow the execution, to support the execution, not something that comes before. And the first thing that people ask you in the Silicon Valley when you talk about an idea, they say, no, interesting idea. And what problem are you trying to solve? In Europe, people would ask you, okay, interesting idea, and how do you want to make money? And this is a fundamental difference in thinking about it. So Americans want to solve problems. Of course, they don't know exactly whether their idea of solving a problem is working. You know, they could be wrong as well, but at least they're trying to think about it. So what problems can you think about? In banking, the Fintech people are thinking about the same thing. They want to solve problems. Funding Circle wants to solve the problem of giving quick access to money for small, medium-sized companies. Other problems could be queues, traffic jams, hands-free. This is why Google Glass was invented. Stuff like this. Why do we need stuff like this anymore? Paper stuff like this. If I want to go in the year 2015 as a consumer and bring back my jacket that I bought, they ask me, did you bring the receipt? No, sorry, no. Then I would say, listen, you have an electronic machine here. Can you please check? I bought this. And the same with going for elections in Switzerland. I mean, why do you still have to go somewhere? You have a smartphone. Why don't you do the elections on the smartphone? Anyways, why is it possible that in Europe we still have signs like this, no credit card? There's a lot of problems we need to solve, yeah? Then if we have an idea how to solve a problem, we need to check, do we have product market fit? Sometimes we could be wrong. Yeah? Of course, we need to check. It's a lot of uncertainty. One quick example is this woman here, she had an idea. I want to solve a problem. There's no pet shops in Tokyo. She thought, I open a pet shop only for cats. Great idea. I'm going to solve this problem that people want to buy cats. When she then found out that people love cats, but they don't want to buy them because everybody in Tokyo works so much, so suddenly she was almost out of business. So she had a great idea, but it wasn't quite right. So she changed the business a little bit. Instead of closing it like you would have done in Germany, she just changed it and made a cafe. So a cat cafe. Now suddenly the cats wasn't there for sale anymore. They were there to stroke them while you drink your coffee. So now, and boom, she made money. Sometimes you have this idea, but your solution wasn't absolutely right. You just need to change it a little bit. And Google Glass is the same thing. Google doesn't know exactly for whom Google Glass is. Maybe it's for, instead of for consumers, maybe it is actually for, maybe it is for professionals. Maybe we don't walk in the street with this stuff. Maybe we work with this, like surgeons or craftsmen who need their hands free. Maybe for them it's the right product, not for consumers. And the last thing you need to do is, in order to find out what is the right thing, who's the right target audience, who's the right people you want to solve your problem to, create a hack. A hack is a fake, and this is something that Europeans and Germans, in special, that have a problem with. It's about faking it. And I give you an example, a consumer example, admittedly, but you get the idea. In Germany, we have a shoe store called Zalando, and the founding idea came from a company called Zappos. Zappos is already from the year 2000. The two founders both had big feet. And every time they walked inside a shoe shop in the year 2000, they would say, and your size, we don't have anything. So they thought, okay, this problem we solve. We make an online shop for shoes. So then we always have all sizes available. The problem was, people wasn't sure. Everybody they asked said, shoes online, I don't know. So they said, we tested. They didn't have enough money to buy an own shoe warehouse. What they did is, they only had enough money for a website. So programmed a website, and then they went around with a car to all shoe shops in Los Angeles, took pictures of the shoes, uploaded the pictures, and every time someone went on the website to buy a shoe, they went to the shoe shop, buy the shoe, wrap them, and send it. So for the consumers, it felt as if they had a shoe warehouse, but they didn't. They just faked it. And then suddenly they had an idea of how things work. It was about execution, not about the idea. The idea is easy. Everybody has ideas, but no one does things. And this is how the Americans think. They're faking it. I don't think this works with every business. It works predominantly in the digital world. I don't think you can produce machines like this necessarily. But we live in a new time. Machines are not so important anymore. We have new technology. So this is innovation hacking. And the last rule I'm going to give you before I close is, if you want to tackle this here, the revolution and the evolution of digital business in fintech, I'm telling you one thing. You have to eat your own dog food or drink your own champagne. This is some typical mistake that managers do. You have to be your best user of this new technology. So I give you an example. If you are the CEO of, for example, Car2Go, which is a car sharing company of Daimler, you cannot own a car anymore. If you are the CEO of Airbnb, which is this house sharing platform, you don't own a house anymore. You have to use your own product every day. You have to be the best user. And if you don't use your product, then no one will. And this is what digital innovation is about. If you don't do this, then your employees won't, and your clients won't, and you can't convince anyone. So digital innovation is often about eat your own dog food. So if you want to be a fintech company, you have to be using your own fintech software every day. I hope I inspired you a little bit for this day, and I hope you liked it. And I'm happy to be here with you a little bit. In the breaks, you can use the Google Glass and other technology, and of course, we can talk to each other. And if you want to learn more about this, come to the Silicon Valley with me. We go in March and in April and in May again, and we meet the digital innovators, and we can suck them out and do the same thing in Europe. And last sentence. We have to fight against companies like Europe, not on the legal basis like they're trying now. In Germany, they're looking at all the data protection laws and they want to tackle Google like this. This is the wrong way. Let's go together, let's become a digital continent, and let's make better innovations than Google. Let's make a cooler search engine than Google. Let's make a cooler cloud software than Dropbox. And all the Americans will come to use our products. We can be better than them. Just not because we tackle them with our laws, but because we tackle them with our better innovation. This is how we have to think. Yeah? We have to think like this, otherwise they overrun us. So be positive about the future. Thank you.
Great presentation, interesting examples, also some scary examples, thinking about face, deal or go. We're running a little bit behind, but I think we still have a couple of minutes for questions, if there are any. We promised it before, so if you want to ask Nick any questions, please raise your hand and you will be handed a microphone. Any questions? Well, let me ask one then, the obvious one, data protection. I mean, you just said it, it's the wrong approach, apparently, in your view, to tackle Google like this. Yet, if you think about these business models like Face Deal and Go, this banking account, exciting on the one hand, though, on the other hand, I find it a little bit hard to imagine that they really will break through here in Europe, considering that data privacy for us, even for younger customers, is for very legitimate reasons, I think, a huge issue.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, in Europe, we have a different, just a mentality about data protection. For us, it's more important than for other continents, like the Asians or the Americans. We have to think about this. It could be an advantage that our products are just a little bit more secure, you know? Maybe they are more sophisticated, our products, than the ones that are coming from other continents. Like in the car industry, it's been the same. Our products in Europe, they've been better than better produced. Maybe this is how we think about digital products too. We're thinking about data protection, but we shouldn't see it as a hindrance, as a kind of like an obstacle. We shouldn't kind of like have it, think about it as let's not do anything because of data protection, but rather incorporate this into our considerations and be better about it. And I put it that way, you can't invent a car when you think about the seatbelt first. You have to first have the car, make some accidents, and then you suddenly come up and think, we have a seatbelt, that's better. You know, if you don't want to hurt anyone, you're never gonna move.
Well, but it hurts if, in particular, financial data.
Okay, I give you one operative example. If I'm not saying that you, with your established companies, have to take risks. I give you an operative example how you can hack your way into this world. Open a new company. Maybe you don't do it as your famous bank company. Maybe you open a little small company that takes all the blame in the end. Then at least you kind of like save your big company. This is a typical example that companies do in Europe. They want to use their big brand, but often that means that they have so much operative struggle because they want to incorporate all these things. Don't use your big brand. Make a new company. Makes it easier. And when it works, you take them later into your big holding, and if it doesn't work, you just close it.
Apart from that, what can banks and financial companies do not to be demolished? You said they should hire more programmers rather than bankers or lawyers. Yeah. But I suppose
there's no golden rule.
I mean, you need to know what to program.
I give you an example. I mean, the publishing houses, what do? Axel Springer takes out all walls in all offices. Even the CEO and all the board members, they're sitting in one big office now. They want to change the culture like this. They buying companies that make money. Their culture is, I don't want to take a small startup, I want to take a startup that already makes money. Other companies have a different approach. They say, we hire a big loft in Zurich center, and we open this loft for new startups. Young people from university, and they should inspire us with their culture. A third approach could be to give the 15% rule. Open up for all your employees and say, 15% of your time that you spend here in the office, you can work on other projects that you want. It could be anything. Like 3M is doing this. You're the famous example from Google. They're doing it like this. Spark the innovation. And of course, you could just talk to HR and say, in every office, we now need a punk. We need someone who's completely different, from a different industry, just to spark things up. This could be very annoying, but it could also be useful. But I tell you honestly, I think one thing you can't avoid is take programmers on board, because you need to be able to execute your ideas. This is a problem that many people in Europe don't execute. They just have ideas all the time. So many papers and concept things end up in drawers. Execute things.
Nick Sohnemann, thank you very much for your time. Inspiring speed, Nick Sohnemann.
Thank you.